Hi Taurus. This is your Gemini season reading, June 2024 reading. All information to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as the extended version of this reading, which will be in the first link below. Don't mind me, I've been readjusting, and that is a metaphor for my life. And maybe yours. You might be going through a readjustment period, and maybe that's what I needed to realize coming into this reading. It is also hot, so I'm doing my best. But fuck it, it's not about me, right? Even though I'm Taurus rising, I'm here with you. I'm here in it with you. We already got a card out. All information to work with me is below, if I didn't say that already, but I feel like I did. Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands. The first card out. That's powerful. It's also control mechanisms. Which one is it, Taurus? Is it both? Usually it is. It's usually a pair, right? It's usually, but it's also guidance, right? Feeling whatever you're feeling, experiencing the control, there's some guidance there. I really do my best to see that as that. I mean, it can be daunting, surprising, very emotional as well. And then there's that upside of, well, there's something being learned here. Bottom of the deck. Next card up. The Emperor. 10 of Pentacles. Oh my God, I'm so hot. And there's more. There's more. We're going to start here. Whatever it's been very hard, and this is such a Mars reading, whatever it's been very difficult, wherever you've been very stubborn about how you create, how that, I'm just going to fix this light while it's flickering. So if I need to shut it off, I can. Just going to see if anything's easier on how red I am right now. How am I doing? Okay, we're just gonna stay here. So, forgive me, but also, hey girl, hey. Wherever you've been stubborn about what it looks like to grow somewhere, to grow with someone. Again, you're always going to be, with this, what I've noticed with this Uranus transit is that you're going to be up against what your ideals of tradition are, where you've been putting in energy, what tradition looks like, what it feels like, what it equates to in your mind, what it looks like in physical form now. And what it seems like is happening, quite ironically, how perfectly, when Mars is moving into your sign, it's going to want to bust through any of that and what you're unsure of and what you don't want. You're going to have this experience and be able to have a more freeing experience. Am I saying that's like the most amazing thing for you, particularly? Well, we've talked about you being behind the fence or being somewhat of a caged animal, as a cow or a bull is, but it's that free roaming, right? That free range that you're getting now. And you're seeing it firsthand. You're seeing it in your life. You're seeing how much it's been linked to your ego, to your identity, Taurus risings, and how much you're being hit with throughout the course of this month with this same thing. How it relates to your ego, how you're seen, how, what security is. And how you communicate that, and how you've been communicating that mentally, physically, emotionally, what you've been communicated to emotionally, physically, mentally, right? So anything you choose, one of those things they'll all be doing the same thing in a different way. And it's however you learn and can pay attention. What I've learned more and more recently is that the more you pay attention to that, and the more that you can learn to communicate and have that conversation with yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, mind, body, spirit, you see what relates to you and what relates to your identity, what you're attached to, right? It's big stuff to talk about. I'm not just like saying it, but this is where we're at, right? This is where you're at. And I like what I want to stress to you so much, Taurus, before we go back over it and go through it all, is that it could be very fortunate to be in this place. I think some people don't think they can get there because of their circumstances or from wherever they've been, but you are, and the Venusian signs are it's just being shown very sharply, very clearly, that no pressure, you don't have to be this person, but you are this person, possibly going through this process of being that person who changes no matter what age you are, no matter what you're going through. You now can see your way beyond the walls that you put up in front of you, the obstacles that you've put up in front of you. I don't think you realize it, but anything you choose to communicate gets done. No matter what you've communicated to the world, you've done it. I want you to make a fucking list or think about it while I get these next cards out. I want you to think about all of those times that you've already done it and how freeing that made you feel. But then you finished, and then you may have put yourself right back in. Now you have time to process, or maybe now's the time to process. And now it's like, this is life is giving you time to process. You are processing. Something is happening. You're communicating something different because when you process, you are communicating something different as you digest and make different decisions about how you take care of yourself, how you take care of your mind, your emotions, how you take care of your all of it. You're communicating something different every time you decide to change it, every time you decide that you need a different form of help. Sorry about this. I just like to get the angle. Good. Okay. Well, now we're here. And this process will be a lot of mental activity as we are in Gemini season. But it's also for Taurus risings about how this is growing your worth. This is growing where you're going. How you can see yourself independent of whatever has been it could have been an abusive situation, abusive relationship, whether with a partner or in your job. For a lot of you, I do see this as it could be a job or a way in which you've decided to communicate how to make money, right? What you're worth, what you've settled for, what you've been demanded of, what your ego, and also like it could have been like, as you unravel it, it's like so clearly like it's just what's linked up with what maybe you saw and what you and what was possible for you. But then you see what's possible for other people, but you know what you're willing to do and what you're not. But then now even your ego is getting a shift in that you're getting a different view and a different piece of how things can ultimately change as you decide. That even in your mind and your spirit, you're like, I want to have that one day. You don't realize that things just are brought to you. You could probably think of a bunch of little things that add up, right? They all add up. And how that's worked out for you, right? The perfect timing of it all. And it's time to get into a more receptive mode as you also are action. You may also find that you have a lot to say, especially if there's a Sagittarius involved. Just know that if this is a literal person that you're involved with or a situation, things, you are being very clear. You're being heard. You don't care. You are not trying to fight either. You're really done with the situation. You're really done with what is happening and what's happened and what patterns perhaps you've seen. You are being given this very clear view through a situation, through needing to use your throat, right, to that, and knowing that there is weight in your words even more this month with Mars coming through your sign, for sure. But the more free that you feel, that can be your ego to get too caught up in feeling free to then also maybe you find yourself wanting to emotionally like just dump or spew, right? But you've done so much work that you know it looks like you won't go back there, but you're learning how to balance working through this while working, right? And then all of a sudden you've done and you've said what you've needed to say, and there may be a moment or a few days, depending on what your situation looks like, that there's a period of time where this process, and all of a sudden this moment occurs where you say exactly what maybe you've been needing to say, because like you're also being heard, right? That it's this judgment way of like, it's so obvious, right? We have two angelic beings too in this row, and it's just so obvious, Taurus, that you are declaring that this is a specific time in your life. You're declaring who you are. You're declaring where you're at. Sorry, I'm just so hot. I'm sorry. This reading is so good and I just can't stop. So you are being more demanding, yet at the same time this opposition is what you're receiving from it, and what you're receiving from what it is that Mars is helping reveal to you, helping communicate to you and to others in your life, is that you are so capable of whatever it is that you've been maybe not thinking that you are capable of. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'll do this quickly and then I'll stop, because this is why I can't get the words out. Okay. I did it. I'm sorry. Yes. This is about from the inside out, how you communicate your worth and how life communicates that to you and what you're willing to. So like, even if like life brings you something, you don't have to engage with it, right? There may have been plenty of times where you've engaged with something that's like way lower, and I hate, like, I'm just putting it in that context for the conversation, is like, that's not even your frequency, but because you feel pulled and there's like a lesson or a trigger there or something that emotionally gets to you, with maybe a specific person, right? That you may allow too much energy to be getting to you with that specific person or that specific type of person. We're just going to use that as the example. And you're missing the other frequency opportunities because you're still focused there. You may not be there entirely, but I just want you to notice, depending on what you're feeling and going through on a day-to-day, today, tomorrow, and notice how your interactions are and what you're drawn to more than others, especially with Mars going through your sign. Mars and Venus, not the same at all. So it's an uncomfortable growth through experiencing luck at the same time, this determination and knowing that you are highly capable. And with that understanding, that shift of energy, you receive, and I want to talk more about this, but I'm trying to bring it into the readings when it comes up, of course. I don't just like, yeah, whatever. For you to receive, right, you adjusted so that you could receive the information. So you had this clear moment, and not to saying you can't go back, but this is how you start to feel how you would like to feel, or how you perceive yourself to feel, or when you are in a place when you're very clear about what you're alchemizing in your life at this time. Because I do see. And often we can think that, for example, in order for our health to change, it has to be the food, it has to be the exercise, it has to be the food or the exercise, it has to be those two things. When in looking from it at a different perspective, call it holistic, call it Eastern, call it whatever you want, there's been so many schools of thought. I like to look at the metaphysicals. I will go to my emotions most of the time first. I'll look back, I'll feel through it, or I'll try to feel through it or create. And sometimes a body part, anything links to this. So this may be a very throat clearing month because Mars is the planet of communication in all the way, shape, or form, and Taurus and Gemini both relate to the throat. And this is also coming from a deep place of Mars ruling the sexual organs. This is more of what we talk about in the next part, but it's really important here too, is the sexual organs is ruled by Mars in Aries, right? So this could be also an Aries in your life who has been maybe in the way of your abundance or your ego, or this experience or this specific place is in the way of all of what you're actually seeking. But it's like about moving through or past it. But going through or past that means that you have to shift. You are shedding, you are changing, and it's happening anyway, but you're in real time. Everyone this month in real time is seeing things right before them, and as you're experiencing it more than ever. And not that you can obviously plan everything, but you're seeing how you're changing. You're seeing how people treat you as you shift. I think even more clearly than you have before, because you're becoming maybe more of yourself. You're becoming more attached to and looking at what security means to you, and then getting a clear, intuitive realization through all of the mess and all of the chaos that you've experienced in your mind with everything going through Taurus and now Gemini, that you're being brought back down to the body through going through this process and deciding that you'll be fine on the other side. You are the most resilient sign, in my opinion. And you have so much to say, so much to tell us about this process that you're going through, but you're experiencing, of course, first on a very intimate level. For some of you, you may begin speaking more about this. This may become way more of how you communicate. And as someone who does believe in maybe just the thought to trickle in that the Emperor is also the head. Aries is the head, Mars is the head. So again, clearing up all of this in your head is because all of whatever you've been overthinking or whatever you've been avoiding or not thinking is the right thing is, and you've been like almost blatantly deciding not to see or not to even try to go down that road with that thought, because that would mean too much would have to change. But as you know, when you get clear or when you decide that that's fine, you see the steps down the road, but then you're like, but Taurus, when you do what's right for you, it gets lighter, it doesn't get heavier. The feelings will always be heavy as you move through the pain and the feelings of it all. And I know that can be what you're scared of, because you are so intimately and deeply connected to and empathetic to all of the life around you. All of it. Right? You're so in touch and sensual, and you know how hard it's taken you to get here. But I want to remind you of something that I remind myself sometimes, and we all need to hear, is that no matter what you choose, and plenty of people have done this, you just maybe didn't think it was going to be you. And no matter what you've done before and what maybe you're deciding to leave behind, whether it's I do think for a lot of you it's some kind of way in which you make money, or how you've approached money, or how you've approached saving, or the traditional trajectory, and how you get there. And I want to tell you that it's a psychic thing. You're thinking something way down the line is connecting with you, that the best time to start is now, or soon, or, you know, at the end of the month, you're going to be kind of forced into it a little bit. A lot of it. Either way, you're going to get there, and you will, and you're going to, because it's here, right? Or somehow, some way, you'll see that getting through this and deciding what's actually real for you, because if you're feeling heavy in your head, or you're feeling not right in your head, you're not feeling right in some way, shape, or form, it's showing up for you now. Your body is communicating to you now, and it could be coming from a deep place, right? And then connecting creatively, sorry, it's a little late, and alchemizing this process, it could bring up anger, it could bring up fear, it could bring up all this, but it's like you've done so much work to get where, and then you're reminded of that again so clearly, and then, or maybe it's you saying it and you finally hear it out loud for yourself, from yourself, and then the Queen of Wands is almost like the first card is this question of, how do I get my power back from wherever I let it go from? How did I get here? And then you go through this process of getting out, and how quickly you can move through this. And you will, because so much is coming to you, and so much wants to make its way to you that you can't ignore it, you can't unsee it. And all of this support and all of this abundance and all of this in which you're beginning to experience for more to come is, of course, as you work through it and as you do this, right? You receive. Right? Maybe doing that physical thing or making that decision or having that conversation is a part of what helps your health. Right? Even just acknowledging all of these things have been trying to get to you. And finally it's like, whoosh. Woo, okay. What makes me feel grounded? You're then able very skillfully to also describe all of this. Maybe you start to begin to do a project that really speaks from who you are now as you were to where you are. Could just be for healing, but to me it feels more like something that is meant to be heard, was meant to be seen, and meant to be appreciated as you are art and constantly shaping yourself and seeing how you can really become whatever it is that you feel or desire, and that is something that is real, and that you can feel it, and that you can sustain it, Taurus, because you've been sustaining this forever, and people have been benefiting from it. You know, you have too, don't get me wrong, but to what cost? It's a big month of your appreciating or seeing where you've not been appreciated for your talents. And by appreciation, again, break that down. It's money, it's time, it's your skill, it's your resources. Breaking it down, you know, like what resources you've been blocked from because this, you know, this very stubborn, opinionated, full of themselves person, character, you're finally confronting that, or coming into contact with it, if it doesn't feel like a confrontation. And you know, you ever see someone look out or like you ever see like a serious moment and you're really gazing at a person having a serious moment, and they either ignore you or really don't know that you're staring at them, and you just see things for what they are. You see where this has gotten you, how it's protected you, and how it's no longer working for you in your life and where your life is going. in any way to resolve, or even to allow yourself to leave things unresolved, just know you did what you can. If you have to do that, like, you really have done what you can. If you're in a relationship, there will be a fortuitous time in this partnership where you are on the same page about, or you're getting this person on the same page about what you're feeling, or you're seeing your processes now, or where you're, meant to go from here, now that you realize that something needs to change. For those of you who are in complete overhaul and you're leaving behind something you thought was going to last for a long time, you realize you need a lot of time to yourself. And if anyone around you makes you feel or expresses things about how upset they are, how much whatever it is about them, or even saying how much you've put into it, I want you to ask yourself why people feel so freely to have this opinion about you. I mean, it could be a mirror, and maybe it is, but it depends on who we're talking about and who you're talking to at this time. And it could be solid, but you weren't. It may have been something that come out of left field as well. So, and I mean, either way, by the end of the month in any of these situations, you're letting go. You're saying what you need to say. It's unraveling even more. It's opening you up even more. And anyone who tries to get in your way, or anyone who doesn't like that, well, isn't that just too bad? You have so much to say, you have so much to share, you have so much to give, and you have so much to receive, Taurus. So much. So much is changing, so it's crazy. It's just like, if we do see ourselves as technology, your technology is, it's like, you might find yourself wanting to express yourself so much more by the end of the month. There's something that has become unlocked inside of you and within you and around you. It's everything. It's all of it. And yeah, good shit. Amazing. And it's the willingness to address things needs more credit, because there's so much in that nothing maybe phases you, but surprised by the way people interact sometimes, and how, give them the horns. I mean, see you next month.